People engaged, it's time for Dueling Decades. The Matrix and Blade versus Bloodsport and Renegade. Strap on that cap, bust out the power glove. Come fight for what you love.
Dueling Decades.
Poop culture, popping pins, dropping hand grenades. Van Halen locked in Mortal Kombat with David Gray. Banner Ballet and Sick, Iron Maiden, GNR. Come fight for what you love.
Dueling Decades.
All right, so I keep control of the board. I pick up a point.
You don't keep control, you get control.
I get control of the board. I get a point.
There you go.
That much closer to victory. So you know what? Fuck it, man. We're going to movies.
Oh, this will be interesting.
Business is about ready to pick up right here. Because my first movie is everyone's favorite, Back to the Future Part 2. Not the video game. We're actually talking about the movie Back to the Future 2, not the crappy video game. Because if you remember, in that game, when Marty travels back to the future and he goes and he finds Gray's Sports Almanac, if you look closely in that window, there's a copy of Jaws for the NES and Burger Time for the NES. And that's possibly the very first time in movie history that they suggested old games and computers may once become collector's items. And if that's not enough, from the very same movie, of course, was a cameo by the NES classic Wild Gunman. And that's very significant, not only in video games, but also in movies, because if you think about it, that's the very first time a video game was ever used to set up a sequel. Because you remember, in the third one, it really set up the whole scene of the drawing and, how it foreshadowed the entire cowboy themed that was coming up in the third installment. And they used, so that's my first one is Nintendo invading the cinemas, the large screen, any way they could, and sticking in 3 cameos in the smash hit Back to the Future 2.
Okay, that's a good one.
All right, my second movie is, I'm just going to tell you what it is. It's The Wizard, 1989's The Wizard. A boy and his brother run away from home and hitch across the country with the help of a girl to compete in the ultimate video game championship. In 1989's The Wizard, released December 15th, starring Fred Savage, Christian Slater, Jenny Lewis, Beau Bridges, Luke Edwards, and it was also Tobey Maguire's film debut. During 1988, a shortage of ROM chips actually delayed the production of Super Mario Bros. 3. Nintendo capitalized on this and said, you know what? Since we're delayed anyway, we're going to promote it with the release of a movie. That was The Wizard. Basically, they made a 110-minute commercial for the Nintendo, all of its products, and Super Mario 3. This was just one level of the media blitzkrieg that Nintendo would do in all of American culture in 1989. The Wizard grossed $6 million in video rentals. It's developed a cult following. Even in 2016, on September 6th, PAX West concluded with a Super Mario Bros. 3 tournament in an exact replica of Video Armageddon from the film. Fred Savage, Jenny Lewis, Luke Edwards all make appearances at gaming competitions today. So The Wizard, there we have it.
I knew that was coming up. I didn't know if it was 88 or 89, but I had a feeling that was 89. And in this type of game, always major points when the movie's about the game. Just like last episode where you had an album about the movie. Perfect pick. All right, where are we going? Mike or Bo?
Go to Bo.
I could go either way.
All right. Bo, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to go an interesting route here with movies because I have a game that was inspired by a movie and then a movie that was inspired by a game. So it's kind of an interesting twist here. I'm going to start off with Silent Hill. Silent Hill, the game was released in January 1999. The movie, I believe, was released in 2006-ish. But basically, it was Silent Hill was kind of one of the very first, I guess you might call it. I don't know. There were probably others before, but one that was really rooted in like horror and kind of suspense and stuff like that. Released in North America January 31st, 1999. And then you had the film adaptation, which was released. Shit, what'd I do with that? Oh, yeah. In April of 2006. So several years later, largely but loosely kind of based on the game. So you've got elements incorporated from the sequels, Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3, and Silent Hill 4. Your main character in the movie was actually replaced with a female protagonist because the guy who adapted it thought that she had many qualities typically perceived as feminine. The addition of the original character. So that's my first choice, Silent Hill, which spawned a movie several years later. And then my second choice is actually the video game that was adapted from the film, and that is 007 Tomorrow Never Dies. Third-person shooter stealth game based on the James Bond film of the same name. This is the second appearance of Pierce Brosnan as James Bond, although the voice of Bond is provided by a different voice actor who is not Pierce Brosnan. Not obviously as good as GoldenEye, though nothing really will ever stand up to the test of time that game, the bar has set. So yeah, basically, yeah, November 16, 1999 is when that one was released. So a video game inspired by a movie and a movie inspired by a video game.
Nice. I had that video game. It was actually pretty good.
Oh, I thought it was garbage. Wait, which one? Silent Hill or Tomorrow Never Dies?
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Oh, get out of here. It's fucking terrible. Absolute garbage.
Definitely no GoldenEye. And Silent Hill was one of those games that the graphics weren't the greatest, but at the time, it was a scary game. I remember my buddy Alex's house, when we'd play it, he had like surround sound, and we'd play it with like the lights off and shit. And you could hear like all the monsters or what zombies, whatever the fuck they were.
Terrifying.
Which, you in 1999, that was one of the first things you got. So it's kind of cool. I don't know about it. The movie coming out like 7 years later, though, might take
it's
off
kind of a
points.
Technicality, but there's a correlation.
Yeah, you know what? In this game, in this type of niche genre thing, the way that we're doing it, you have to take some liberty sometimes.
It's difficult.
So I will agree with that. All right, off to Mike. Mike, what do you got?
All right.
Wow me, man. Fucking wow me.
I will. Wait till you hear this. On November 4th, 1994, evil meets its match when two brothers feel the power and live the legend and provide the ultimate kick in this fantastically horrible Double Dragon. Bimmy and Jimmy Lee have made it to the big screen and earned $1.3 million against a $7.5 million budget. In the film, two brothers have one half of a Chinese talesman, and they have to keep the bad guys from getting it and taking over the world. In the game, it's two brothers trying to get their girlfriend back, and they fight through the city like the fucking warriors. The movie sucks, but the video games had become such a big part of pop culture. You started to really see a transition from video games into TV and movies, and that's why you're getting cartoons like Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario Brothers, the movie, and The Wizard. But horrible movie. Don't watch it.
Wait, that's the one with Scott Wolf, right?
Yeah, and Alyssa Milano's in it, and
oh man,
yeah,
what a cast!
Yeah, it's not good. But my second film is even worse. On December 23rd, 1994, Street Fighter the movie was released in the U.S., starring Jean-Claude Van Damme as Colonel Guile. The film features your favorite Street Fighter characters doing everything but what actually happens in the game. The movie should have been like Bloodsport, but instead you get a Saturday morning cartoon mixed with Rambo. I think it's fucking awesome that Jean-Claude was doing over 10 grand worth of blow a week while filming this thing, and the movie's targeted at kids who are fans of this like major fucking game. The film grossed over 100 million worldwide. The movie sucks, but Street Fighter 2 was just too fucking big. It had to get a movie.
And Raul Julia was
that was like his last movie.
Yeah, it's his last movie.
Yeah,
it's his last movie. Yeah,
man. All right. So you had two shit movies, but at the same time, you had two movies that were video games. So that's high class points right there. Mark, you had one, and the other one, what was the first one again? It was good too.
Back to the Future 2 had three cameos from Nintendo games in it, and one of which set up Back to the Future 3.
which I fucking hate. Back to the Future 3 is
Yeah.
like Rocky 5, like should not even be talked about. And the fact that we had to bring it up here, I have to negate points for that because
Oh!
it's such a fucking turd of a movie. It just kills the entire series. Why would you take it back to the fucking 1800s? Like anybody gives a shit. Like the reason they did that.
Because Mary
It's 'cause you
Steenburgen
had,
looks really
it
good
wasn't
in a
a-
long dress.
Actually, I
It's not
think
wrong. No,
I
it's
think
not wrong
she's
at
the
all.
reason the movie sucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think she's the reason why that movie sucks.
Wait, what
Wow.
year did that come out?
It's like 91.
So all right. So it was before like Wyatt Earp and Tombstone, huh? Huh. Trendsetters. Fuck that. But you did have the Wizard, but the Wizard's a piece of shit too. It's just a cult piece of shit. But I think the same could be said for the two that Mike dropped too. They're both kind of like culty bad movies that you watch
Yeah.
just because it's kind of funny how bad they are. So just because Mike had two of them, I'm gonna have to go with 94, just because it's pushing in that direction where video games are now going into the movies. These video games are getting so big that they're like just trying to print checks, and yeah, even though they're garbage movies, I'm gonna have to go with 94 in this one.
Dueling Decades.